If you're wondering what SEO is and how it works, this is the video for you. Hi, I'm Joseph and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you like videos on business and marketing, well, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now and ring the bell for notifications so each time a new video comes out, you will be notified. If you're trying to get the word out about your business, one of the best free ways to do it is through search engine optimization, also known as SEO. So how does it work? Well, it's important to understand that search engine optimization is really run by a search engine. A search engine is a program that will search and identify information in a database based off the keywords you give it. Now, primarily this is done on the World Wide Web. When I was younger, this was done in a library where I'd go and say, hey, I'm looking for a book on geography. Geography was in the 300s. I would look through the 300s for the book that I want, and then I would then go to the catalog, find the exact Dewey Decimal System number, and then I could go find it. So that was a very manual process, but a search engine is exactly the same thing. It has all this information that it gets. Now it gets this information by crawling the web. And what that means is whenever someone creates information, that website is then put into the World Wide Web. Whenever that information gets out there, Google or Bing or Yahoo or Amazon or whichever search engine is actually locating that website, going through all the information on the page, and then assigning it to a particular category and giving it a certain type of ranking so that it knows where to put it in its index. Now, I'm going to take you through the exact steps I went through to get one of my blog posts to rank high in a search engine and how you can do it too. So let's go ahead and jump on over to my computer screen. Okay, here we are. You can now see my screen and see me, and I want to go through some quick examples of what it could look like for you to get content ranked in a search engine. I think it's very important to understand that there's not just Google. So this video will focus a lot on what's happening in Google, but you also need to understand that there's Bing, there's Yahoo, and there's other search engines like this, but there's also Amazon. And a real quick thing here to keep in mind for Amazon is that if you're ever looking for something, let's just say large or flat screen TV, this is a search engine in the same regard of everything that we're going to go over, because you'll see here, we'll start with some type of featured brand, which is some type of sponsored ad. You'll also see that there's another sponsored ad, but all of these products that are being shown to me are being based off of the product itself, what Amazon feels that they're going to sell more of, and the type of tags and information and titles that each one of these companies is putting into it. I believe it's around 57% of e-commerce is done through searches for e-commerce is done through Amazon. So it's important to know that it's also a search engine. And if you're selling products or e-commerce products that you want on Amazon, it's important to make sure it's there too. So we'll go ahead and keep moving through this, but keep all those in mind. So the one that we're going to start out with is Google. Now, I want to go through what I've done to get one of my blog posts to rank, and I have an incognito window set up, so hopefully it gives me the results that you would get as well. These results could change over time, so depending on when you're watching this video, the ranking might be higher. But let's just go ahead and do it. So the first thing that I want to start out is that you have to have really good research. Now, this first term is going to be how to create a WordPress website with DreamHost. And it's important that I first start here. So whenever you put in how to, Google's going to automatically give you some instant search results that other people are looking for. Now, as soon as I type in how to create a website, Google's going to give me some information for free, to sell, for my business, with WordPress, all these different type of examples it's going to give me. This is probably one of the most important things, is doing the research to make sure that you know people are searching for the type of content that you're producing. Because if you create content that ranks well in Google or in a search engine, you're going to get good rankings, but no one's looking for it. And the whole idea is to actually make sure that you're selling your products, that you're selling a service, so it has to be something that people are interested in. Now, I know that if I do how to create a website, tons of results are going to show up for that. But if I want to rank my content, I can't do something as wide as that. So I need to narrow the focus and put in something like how to create a website. And let me show you this. You'll see here that we will have for this, it's not showing me the amount of searches I have, but if we put in something like with WordPress, we're going to get similar results. We'll see the ads, but then we start seeing videos from YouTube that are ranked. We also will start getting all types of websites that are ranking. Now, to compete against people like this, it's going to be very difficult. You're going to have to write something extremely compelling. You have to do a lot more. So we really want to focus that even more. So what I will do here is how to create a WordPress website with DreamHost. DreamHost is who I use. A lot of people might use something else. But what you're going to see, this will now start giving me results. So there's about 482,000 results. And I know that I can compete when it's a smaller number as opposed to what the other searches would have been are so huge when it comes to creating a website. But what we'll see here is when I look at this page, I start seeing that things are ranking for many different reasons. This is ranking because a lot of people that want to know how to are searching very fast and they want really quick steps. So they're giving me a snippet is what this is called. So one thing is to make sure that as you're writing your post or you're writing your content, that you're putting some really quick steps so that people can actually read your blog post and understand. We see that DreamHost has something. So if I write about this, I'm also going to know that I'm competing against DreamHost, which wants their website to rank high in the search engines. So the first part of the research is getting an understanding of who you're going to compete against, what type of information you need to have as you're competing. So what I wanted to do is also look at a different variation. So if you scroll down, you can see, but I wanted to see, and sometimes you can even put in how to build a website and different things. You can see the results have gone down. Now let's just do a completely different search. And this is one that I know I'm ranking for. And it's a small different variation where I switch the word WordPress and I also switched that with website. So what you'll find here is that there's a little bit more searches, but as we scroll down, we're gonna see a lot of the same things that we did for the previous search. We're gonna see DreamHost with its snippet. We're gonna see DreamHost again, and then we're gonna see videos, which this is really important that I haven't created a video on WordPress. So that's probably something I should do to get that ranked in the YouTube search engine, not only in Google search. So that's important as you think about it. There's so many different types of things that you can get ranked. If you're great at video, do video. If you're great at writing, write more. But as I start scrolling down, DreamHost, 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 but look at this. Here's my website. Now this is something that you can see here. There's a few things that are going on, and we'll continue to go through this in this video, is after DreamHost, and I'm in incognito, as you can tell, I have a top ranking blog post. So what that means is that each month I'm getting traffic to my website for roughly 500 out of the 527,000 results. Anyone searching for that, they're gonna find me. What they're also gonna find is not only this post, you'll see, and let's review real quick, there's a snippet. So someone's written something in their blog post that's very to the point. There are just regular websites that are being ranked, and there are videos being ranked. But then we also have below some of these websites, we have images that are being ranked. Now, if I click on my website, remember this first image right here. But if I open a new tab, what we're gonna see is that image is actually my image. So there's other things that you can rank. There's video, there's snippets, there's websites, and there's images. There's so much type of content that you can get ranked, and every little bit helps you get the word out about your business to people that are interested. And if you haven't seen it before, go watch my marketing video, because or the video on what is marketing, because you're really trying to understand who the market is, what they're searching for, and being in front of them on the right channel as they look for your information. So what we have here is my website that's not only ranking for the blog post, but then it's ranking for images. So it's important to know that. And let's just look through some other ones. I haven't checked these, so it might be ranking, it might not. But on Bing, a lot of the things are going to look the same way. We're going to have an advertisement, which we saw on Amazon. We see the same thing happening here on Bing and also on YouTube. We do have a snippet here with DreamHost again. We have some suggested searches people are looking for, just in case I typed in the wrong thing. We have a video, we have more video, we have DreamHost, and boom, I'm being ranked again. And that's important, that not only am I getting traffic from Google, I'm also getting traffic from Bing. Let's check out Yahoo. I'm sure if I do the same search on Amazon, I'm not going to be ranking because it's not a product in that regard. But you're going to see the same thing here in Yahoo. We're going to have ads. We're going to have some type of suggested snippet for some really quick steps that you can do. And then we're going to have a website. They put their videos down a little bit lower. Let's see. Yep. And I'm still ranking here on the first page. So keyword research is really important to make sure that there's a lot of people searching for that thing. And then after you decide what you're going to rank for, you have to focus on how narrow you want to be. Now, I primarily use DreamHost. I feel I'm extremely proficient at solving any problem that would come up about it. So that's something that I want to write about. I don't use GoDaddy. I don't use Bluehost. I don't use SiteGround, even though I've used them, but that's not where I host my website or I recommend. So it's important to understand that. So I just went into a particular niche. So number one is making sure that you're doing the right traffic. But after you write traffic, there's certain things that are going to happen once people click on that ad. The next thing is that they're actually going to go to my website. So there's certain things that I want here to make sure that they actually start reading through the content, and it leads them to do something with my business. And that's the next key here. But let's go through what we would consider certain parts of not just making sure that it's interesting and has really good content, which I think is number two, is if it's a video, if it's a snippet, it has to be good. And that's your second point. But once you know that it has to be good, there's certain things that have to happen, which is point three, which is on-page SEO. Now someone is actually on my website, there's certain things that I want to happen. The first thing is that I want this title to be put in a certain heading. Now what we call, if you use WordPress, most WordPress themes will automatically put a heading in an H1. The reason we want to put that in a heading 1 is because search engines are looking for something that's the most important heading on your website. So because I've made this an H1 on the page, what happens is that Google, Bing, Yahoo, and other search engines now look at this as the most important keywords on my page. This is on-page SEO. So the keywords that I have here is how to create a WordPress website with DreamHost. Exactly what I knew searches were happening, and I wanted that to really tie in once someone was on the page. You'll also see here, let's just use, we'll use different examples as we go through, but that heading, which is right here, is what we call the H1. And then I want to make sure that my link of the page actually uses some of those keywords. And then I also write a description about what they're going to view. A lot of people will choose what they're going to read based off of this description. So here, I wrote a description on how to create a WordPress website, and you can see someone searching for that term is going to see that right there. So when it gets to on-page SEO, this link that's right here, create a website, this title, and this meta description is all on my page. And what Google does, or what Bing does, or what Yahoo does, is they pull all that information in. So this is what it looks like. You see it stops here, and it gives us the ellipsis after DreamHost. Let's see what it does here. We are on Bing. Where is my search? So here it actually puts in DreamHost, or it actually goes a little bit further. So that means I can show a little bit more information on Bing than I can Yahoo. And here, or I'm sorry, on Google. And here it shows the whole thing. And this is actually a different type of meta description. So it's important to know that every search engine is doing things a little bit differently, but at the end of the day, they want something that people are searching for to rank you higher. They want you to have on-page SEO, which is what they're going to grab and show in their search results. And if you're e-commerce, it's going to be the same thing, where here we have an image, we have a title, we have reviews. Now, reviews do matter in search engines based off of what it could be, but then we're also going to have descriptions. So you're going to see this throughout search engines because it's a database and it's trying to get users that are looking for something the right information. So let's continue. Now that we're on page, we know that the title matters. We know that the meta description matters. We then have to start doing particular things with images. We have to make sure that our images describe what's happening on the page. So if I hover over this, and it kind of depends, I could probably show you a different way, but there's something called an alt text, which means alternative text. And that's for people who might not be able to see your images, or sometimes they have images turned off. And if they have images turned off, there's going to be an alternative text. Let's see if we can get this to show up here if I hover over this. But a lot of times it'll show you the name of this image. So I have several images, which it's not showing us here. Yeah, I won't. Actually, I will show you. Let me just get in here real quick and show you. So right here, you'll see in this image, it has this little alt text right here. Alt equals purchase shared hosting. Now I'm writing something about hosting. I'm writing something about website. So I don't want to give it a name that really doesn't explain what the image is, but I know people looking for hosting, looking for websites. Those are keywords that they're trying to figure out. So I go through and I name every single image on this page, not only for the user, but also for the search engine. So as you look through, everything is broken up well. It has links, it has different type of content, tons of image to show you exactly what's going to happen as you set up your website, and the search engines start grabbing a lot of that content and putting it out there. And that's why whenever we looked here in Google where they're showing images, mine is the first image that's showing up. And that's one more way to get traffic, to get your business known on the search engine, and it's free. All it took was me taking the time, writing this blog post to get it ranked. And now this is an asset that I have that will just continue to generate traffic and to generate sales for a WordPress website and a weekend course I have. So that's just one thing that you want to think about, is that search engine optimization is so great once you get something ranked. And if you're doing these strategies that I'm talking about, then you're going to start getting more things ranked. So now we've talked about on-page signals. The next thing that you also want to do is make sure that you're considering where you're linking to and where you're linking from. So right now I have a link in here, and this link will take someone to DreamHost. This one will take someone to WordPress. This one will take them to Bluehost. Now what I'm doing is I'm doing an external link for those other websites. That means Google looks at my website and will say, well, how many people are linked to my blog post? How many people are sharing my content? And that's one of those off page. Now that we've done everything that we should do on the page, off page signals that direct people to my content. And that's what I would consider the fourth thing that we want to consider with SEO is, are other people linking to my content? And this means for you that you want to post on Twitter, you want to post on Instagram, on Facebook, on any other social media platform that I'm not thinking, but then you also want to write and get other bloggers and other websites to actually say this is very valuable content, and that signals to the search engines that other people are saying this is important content and you should actually rank this higher because people like it. So it's important to get other people to like, to share, and have a link on their website for your content. I think it's important. It's not something that I actually spend the time to do. I will primarily just write really good content, post it myself, but I do more on page. If you have the time, do external linking signals as well, but that's a lot more work and it's more than what I need. And as you can see, from not really doing it, I'm still ranking on the first page of Google. So that's important. Take that for what you're worth. Some people will say you need to get everyone linking to your website. You need to post all the time. I think you do sometimes, depending on your industry. But for writing for something like this, I was able to get it ranked very well without doing any of that. So number 5 is rich content. Now, rich content means that I have a plethora of different things happening. And rich content would mean the snippets, that I would actually create a better snippet on this blog post. So Google could actually take that snippet and have it in the first result. And just to make sure, the snippet is this thing right here. So to make my content rich, I could create a better snippet. And now I know that I'm going to create a series of videos on YouTube about creating a WordPress website with DreamHost, because I want to get a video ranked as well. But once I create that video, guess where I'm going to place that video? I'm going to place it here to make this content more rich. So not only do I have video, or not only would I have a better snippet, not only will I have images, not only will I have a great video, and great content and great links, and just it's rich in the way that people can deal with it in many different ways. They might not read the post, but they'll read or they'll listen to the YouTube video. So that's one thing that you also want to do, is make sure your content is rich. And if you're ever confused about what else you can add to a blog post that might be ranking or might not be ranking, is to go to the search results, see what examples you have here, and then start making sure that you put some of that information on your blog post. And you can also write supporting blog posts for that by getting some of these related searches. And these are opportunities for the future of how to make more content. Now, the last thing that I'm going to talk about that I think is important for search engine optimization, and just as a little quick tutorial, I'm sure each point that I've had so far could actually be its own video, but it's important to know that your website has to be mobile friendly. That means that if someone comes to your website and they're using a mobile device, Google cares about that. And actually, let me go ahead and go to a different website now, just to show you some things that Google has on search engine optimization. And you'll see one of the points here is that your website really needs to be mobile friendly. Now, if a person can't come to your website and the buttons aren't big enough so they have trouble clicking, I'm looking at you, Amazon. It's always hard to click your buttons on Amazon Prime. But if your website is mobile friendly, Google wants to show that, because likely more than half of your traffic is going to come through a mobile device. So they call it micro moments. People want to know, go, do, or buy in micro moments. So something comes up, they're on their phone, they're having a conversation with a friend, and they say, oh, let me look this up on my mobile device. It's important that your website, for SEO reasons, is mobile friendly. So I'll just leave this here. This is a great guide. You can just type in Google and type in SEO. It'll take you through everything that I said. It'll give you the best practices, how you can actually rank better in their searches depending on your business. And anything you do well in Google is actually going to perform very well in Bing or Yahoo. So keep that in mind. So those would be the tips. Let me briefly go over these again. Number one, make sure that you have good research. Number two, make sure that it's an interesting article that people want to see. Number three, on your page, you have to have really good SEO, and we call that on-page SEO. We also have off-page SEO, which is making sure that people are linking and that more search engines can actually find your information. Number five is rich content. And number six is making sure that it's mobile responsive. Now here's the bonus for those of you that are still around and didn't click off. Here we have a website called trends.google.com. It's a great tool for you to use to find ideas. So whenever I was doing research, I could come here and put in something like how to create a website. What I'll get is how this has looked over time based off of 12 months and also based off the United States. And then I start seeing some of the places where people are really looking for how to create a website. But then you might come down here and see related topics or related queries, which give you another idea. So one of these that's interesting is how to create a website for my business. And I might come here and type in how to create a website for my business. Oh, spelled that wrong. For my business. I still spelled it wrong. Let's just remove that and let's add it again. How to create a website for my business. There we go. So now what's going to happen is I'm going to see the difference is that if I did something over how to create a website for my business, there's less people searching for it than how to create a website. But if you've been listening since the very beginning, you know this might be very competitive. This top line here that's blue. There might be tons of people searching for it, but there might be tons of people writing about it. So you might consider doing something like how to create a website for my business, which it might rank faster to a smaller group of folks, but at least that's one asset that's done, it's ranking, and you can always build off that. So keep that in mind as you are creating content. And then you can also come back here and look for different ways to do it. I bet if I did something like how to build a website for my business, I'm going to get a different result because not everyone is doing create and not everyone is doing build. But sometimes just by changing a word that way, you'll get different results. And if you're not in the USA, well, you can always do worldwide. You can choose the country that you're in. So let's see what happens when we do worldwide across the past 12 months. And we'll see we're getting very similar results. So that's just one thing that you can use. You can always use a tool like Ubersuggest as well. And Neil Patel, actually, I think he purchased this not too long ago. But you can also get more ideas this way, and you can start seeing, you can get ideas to see what other people are writing. But this is a very important part, and that's why I say it's number one, is you have to do your research first. There's also tools like this if you're interested in what you can do, Moz.com. You can check them out to get some really good ideas of what you can do to better do off-page SEO. But as you've seen for my video, I'm not doing much of off-page and I'm still ranking well. So that's it. And I wanted to go over this with you because if you implement these for your business, just keep in mind this is free. This is free information that you're putting out there. You're putting the time in, but it's an asset that will continually generate income for you or generate awareness for your business. So we'll go ahead and hop back over for the question of the day. And thank you so much for watching. What is the next type of content that you will create to get ranked in Google? I'd love to know. Put it in the comments below. And don't forget, subscribe, ring the bell, and share this with your friends and them. Until next time, I'm Joseph Bojang, and thank you for checking out my YouTube channel.